Yo, what's up viewers, it's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you again with another What If. This time I'll be bringing you What If Blaze was in My Hero. Look, I know, a lot of people are not going to support this series, but I think if you give it time and listen to what I'm trying to do, it might actually start to grow on you. With that said, let's start that intro and get into it.
I don't think you can become a hero.
Blaze and Ed turned to see who was trying to get their attention, only for them to see a blonde-haired girl wearing a school uniform who seems to be wearing it very loosely as she then proceeded to run up to Blaze and Ed. Hey there, I just wanted to say thank you for saving my life in the convenience store. Seeing you tear your body apart while fighting people and evacuating was awesome, but a little bit creepy, but cool. Blaze was a little bit lost in thought as he was looking at the gorgeous woman in front of him. It was truly nothing. They weren't even that powerful. I could have taken care of them without Ed's assistance. Ed walked up beside Blaze and punched him right in the shoulder. And let you have all the fun after they decided to be rude? I think not. Ed then looked towards the blonde, recognizing who the woman is. It's been a while, Nero. Nero turned to look at Ed as she smiled. It truly has been a long time, especially since you haven't been coming to visit Zelda like you used to. Ed flinched, knowing that Blaze was going to be asking him a ton of questions later. I've been busy. I've at least been sending her a letter and occasionally phone calling her every now and again to let her know that I'm still alive. Nero shrugged her shoulders, looking back and forth, being a little bit silly as her outfit kinda loosened on her a little bit more. Trust me, I've heard that she's been waiting to meet your new friends. This must be the red-headed demon that you've been telling us all about. Blaze smiles as he puts both of his hands behind his head, making it look like he has devil horns. That definitely would be me. I am the red-headed demon. All mortals shall fear me. Nero laughed a little bit, finding the performance a little bit amusing. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. He then held out her hand for a handshake. My name is Nero Yaoyorozu. Blaze smiled as he shook her hand as his eyes flashed real quick, but for the first time in his life he didn't look at his quirk menu, but instead he was focused on the blonde-haired beauty in front of him and her gentle touch. I am Blaze Hollow. It's a pleasure to meet you. Nero giggled, seeing that the man who just took on two villains without even flinching, acting nervous in front of her. Likewise, well, I better get going. My family is expecting me home soon. She then turns to look at Ed one last time. Text me sometime. I may not be as special as Zelda, but I'm still your friend. Both of them just watched her run off as Ed was getting ready to be bombarded with questions, but after a minute or two passed and nothing came, he was concerned. When he turned his head, he saw that Blaze was staring towards Nero in a trance. As he wanted to help his friend come back to reality, he started to snap his fingers a few times in front of his face. This is reality calling Blaze, please pick up. Blaze shook his head a little bit, regaining his focus. Sorry about that. Were you saying something to me? Ed was completely shocked, knowing that Blaze never lets his guard down or let himself be caught off guard. Are you okay, bro? I don't think I've ever seen you like that before. Blaze took a deep breath as he just gathered himself. Yeah, it's just something about her caught me off guard. Ed was hoping that Blaze forgot about Zelda's name being name dropped because he was so infatuated with Nero. So does somebody have a crush? It's not like you to go chasing skirts. Blaze was thinking about it for a second as he was feeling his fingertips, remembering how her hand felt within his. I don't know. I haven't felt this way towards a girl before. It's different. It's truly hard to explain. Ed's eyes widened, not expecting an honest answer from Blaze, or to have it played off so easily. Well, she is a good friend of mine. If I remember the last time I spoke with her, she was planning to go to UA, so if everything goes smoothly, you'll get to see her again. Blaze smiled at the idea of meeting Nero once again, but then he was also thinking about checking her name through his database to see if her name is going to bring up any trouble. He has a nice name, along with that Zelda person that was mentioned. Ed facepalmed, knowing that his luck was never that good and that Blaze lets no information go past his ears. It's nothing that you need to be concerned about. She's an old friend from my past before I met you. Blaze rolled his eyes knowing that there was more to this. Also, I don't appreciate that you tell your two friends that I'm a red-headed demon. Ed chuckled a little bit. Well, when you're not causing trouble or acting like a demon, I'll tell them that you're a good person, but until that happens, you're going to be staying as the red-headed demon. Yeah, no, calling your friends demon isn't very nice. Both Blaze and Ed were caught off guard a little bit as they were looking around, wondering who was saying that, only for Ed to then notice a face coming out of the wall. What the hell? Who are you? And why are you a wall? Blaze started to get excited as he turned his head, only to see the trademark of Lemillion, who loved to stick his head out of walls as a little joke. Oh my god, it can't be. That's when the blonde-haired man came stepping out of the wall in his hero outfit that was white and blue with the number 1,000,000 on his chest in yellow as he had a red cape flowing behind him. Sorry, didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I wanted to talk to the both of you about the convenience store incident and what I've heard from the pros that the two of you were straight up awesome. Blaze had stars in his eyes as he started to bounce on the balls of his heels in excitement. I've heard of you. You're Lemillion, the second year of UA and the sidekick of Sir Night-Eye. Lemillion had a joyful smile on his face as he was scratching the back of his head, not expecting to run into a fan of his. Wow, it's surprising how many people actually know me. Ed was eternally screaming, knowing that this was one of the last people he ever wanted Blaze to run into, especially for what his quirk was, knowing that his friend was going to be even more annoying than he usually is now. So, you said you wanted to talk to us about the convenience store, right? Lemillion focused, realizing that he got a little bit off topic. Well, yes, I was wondering if the both of you were planning to go to UA. You have such great power and great potential that it would be a waste for you, the both of you, not to try to become heroes. Ed just rolled his eyes. Well, it's a little bit troublesome for me, but it's the only thing that will get me close to my real dream. Lemillion just tilted his head sideways in confusion. Really? What's your real dream? Ed puffed out his chest as he was about to give a very strong-willed speech. My true dream is to one day become a sleep tester for mattresses. Lemillion was so caught off guard by the answer that he was about to fall on his ass as he started to phase through the ground and then pop up the next few seconds as he had a sweat drop on his face. Really? Well, that's something. He then turned to Blaze, wondering what the redhead answer was going to be. And what about you? Blaze took a deep breath, knowing that he had to give a pleasing answer instead of telling him what his real dream was. My dream is to one day surpass All Might, and when I become the #1 hero, to give half of the money I make to orphanages so orphans can actually have a better chance of finding real families. Lemillion was actually happy with this one, knowing that the redhead didn't want to become #1 just for himself. He was doing it for the people who need him most. Well, that's awesome. I love your hard work and dedication to your dream to become #1 someday. Blaze quickly pulled out his phone, but was acting like he was stumbling to do it. Please wait, before you go, can I have a souvenir picture of the both of us shaking hands? So I can frame it later. I want it to be my origin story of my encouragement by you helping me become #1. Lemillion had a smile that was going ear to ear as he liked the sound of it. Of course, why don't we have your friend take the picture? Plus, with the sunset getting ready right behind us, it would be the perfect backdrop. Blaze tossed his phone to Ed, who caught it easily as he was watching the both of them shake hands as the sunset was right between the both of them. After a minute, Lemillion said goodbye to the both of them as he ran off, phasing through the ground and leaping into the air as friends started to walk home again as Ed gave Blaze his phone back. Do you know that when I see you like that, it's almost hard to believe that you're lying to people about being Mr. Goody Two-Shoes? Blaze put his phone back in his pocket as he had a smirk on his face. Well, you can't expect me to give them the real answer and then want to shake my hand afterwards, do you? Ed shrugged his shoulders. So why don't you give me a recap on what you gained today? Blaze opened his quirk menu as he noticed 2 quirks that he didn't expect to have in his quirk listing. Well, I can tell you what I had before. Let's start with that, which was Lizard Tail and Arsenal. The ones I gained are known as Vector Arrow, Shock Fingers, Fiber Master, Zero Gravity, Creation, and Permeation. Ed wanted to slam his head up against the wall, forgetting that Nero had a very powerful quirk, but was also curious where Zero Gravity came from. Where did you get Zero Gravity from? Who did you touch without me realizing it. Blaze thought about it for a minute, but then remembered the brunette that he tackled to the ground before she got shocked. It probably came from the brunette girl that I saved. I'll have to see how it works later, but I only have 2 free slots left before I have to start mixing them together or throwing certain ones away. Ed just started to shake his head. Oh, what a pity you have so many abilities, yet you have to start figuring out which ones you want. Blaze punched Ed in the shoulder as his eyes flashed a bright blue but then flashed a quick red. It was worth filling a slot for a second, but using your quirk is just way too problematic for my body sometimes. Ed didn't really care as he just rolled his eyes. Well, I got things to take care of tonight. Try to stay out of jail. I don't need a phone call in the middle of the night saying I'm in prison. Blaze felt offended as he put his hand over his heart as he stopped in his tracks. You have so little faith in me. But both of them shared a fist bump, only for the next second for Ed to start fading away, showing that he used his speed to leap behind an after image. Blaze didn't care as he made his way home, finally arriving. Once he opened the door, he saw that parts of his living room was on fire, along with one of the bedrooms, while his roommate came running out with his head on fire as Blaze just put down his bag and went into the closet, pulling out the fire extinguisher, putting out the living room along with his roommate's head. Why is it that every time I come home, the house is nearly destroyed by your experiments, Dubstep? Dubstep feels grateful to no longer have his head on fire and quickly grabbed the fire extinguisher, putting out the stuff in his room, then comes back out to the living room. Sorry, I was trying out some new explosives that I was thinking about adding to your costume when I accidentally set one off. Blaze just shook his head as he went into the kitchen and grabbed a Sprite out of the refrigerator. I'm telling you, don't start working on explosives until we start building the lab in the basement. Speaking of which, how's the paperwork for that going? Dubstep pulled out his phone as he was looking over the emails. After a minute, he finally found what he was looking for. We're almost approved. They're going over a few things to make sure that we don't hit any power lines or possible plumbing. Once that's all clear, we'll be free to start digging out the basement and expanding things. Blaze shrugged his shoulder as he hated paperwork. You would think since this is my own land and that there's nobody around us for 4 miles, we'd be free to do whatever we want with the land, but once we start digging downwards, we get into trouble. Dubstep was cleaning out some of the foam from his ear. I told you we should be working on the ground level, but you said it would be way too dangerous. Anybody could break in if we don't have proper security set up. Blaze walked into the living room and plopped down onto the couch. I still stand by that. We have a lot of training equipment on the ground level, but I'd rather keep our actual equipment tucked underneath the house. That way it's a lot harder to get to. Dubstep was about to sit down on one of the couches when he came across the mirror, seeing that his hair was all messed up as he ran into the bathroom to try to fix it. I understand that. Did you still want me to have the drones make your forging area right next to your training simulator? Blaze thought about it for a minute, then he thought about the idea of having to sweat a ton underground, which made him feel uncomfortable. Yeah, you can keep that above ground. Try to stick to my schematics so that way it has a nice open concept. I don't care if they steal the weapons I'm trying to forge out there because they're not the best ones that I ever made. Dubstep finally came out of the bathroom with his hair finally fixed. Well, with that out of the way, any new things that I need to research with you tonight? Blaze smirked as he finished off his soda and chucked it into the trash can from his seat. Yeah, I got a couple of quirks that we'll be analyzing on that I gathered for fun today. Before either of them could even plan on doing anything else, they heard knocking at the front door as they looked at each other and shrugged, not expecting anybody to be here today. So Dubstep went to the door and opened it, only for him to have it slam right in his face as Tokage came rushing in as she was seeming to be worried about something. Blaze, are you alright? I heard that you were in the middle of a villain attack at the convenience store. Even the news were saying that there was gunfire, so I rushed over here as soon as possible to see you. Blaze leaned back on the couch like it was no big deal. It's fine. Technically, thanks to your quirk, I was able to get out of there without a single injury. Tokage blushed a little bit, knowing that it was thanks to her power that the person she cares about is safe. Well, I'm glad that you're not hurt, but what were you and Ed thinking? Blaze was wondering if he should be honest or say something comforting, so he decided to tell the truth. I honestly thought that it would be fun. Ed probably got forced into it because somebody was telling him what to do while he was trying to pick out a snack, and I jumped in because I like doing stupid things. Tokage didn't even know what to say as she flopped face first onto one of the empty couches. I swear, you're taking years off my life with every one of these reckless stunts. Blaze Blaze chuckled a little bit in amusement. Well, maybe you should start realizing that I'm not easy to kill, so you stop taking years off your life. I can take care of myself. Tokage grabs onto one of the coasters off of the coffee table and throws it right at Blaze's head as she heard a thumping noise. And Blaze's laughter stops as she knew that she hit her target without even looking. How can I not worry about you? You're always getting yourself into trouble. It hasn't changed since the first day we met. Dubstep went into the kitchen and grabbed 3 more sodas. As he came back, he sat down in the recliner, putting one of the sodas in front of Blaze and the other one in front of Tokage. I'll truly never forget the day the both of you met. You were being picked on because of your quirk being weird, and then Blaze showed up, kicking the bully in the face and proceeding to walk off. Blaze was trying to remember that day when it finally came back to him. Oh, that's right. I always hated people for looking down on others for having weird quirks, so I kicked him and sent him down 2 flights of stairs. It was one of the greatest things I've ever saw because I never knew people can go down the stairs like slinkies. Tokage finally got up and sat down on the couch properly as she grabbed onto her soda and took a few sips from it. It's a day I'll never forget. Plus, I saw the guy afterwards. He had your shoe indented to his face. I also believe that you were suspended for 2 weeks afterward. Blaze just shrugged like he didn't even care. I believe that's right. I took the time to do some training at home so I didn't have to waste my time listening to people give boring lectures. Dubstep started to feel like a third wheel, so he decided to change the mood of the room. We were about to head over to the training area to test out some of Blaze's new quirks. Did you want to watch? Tokage got excited as her body started to come apart as her head levitated next to Blaze. So you got some new toys to play with? Anything interesting? Blaze smirked, knowing that Tokage always loved watching him come home with some new quirk. Oh yeah, plus I got 2 off of my list that I've been wanting, along with a couple that I didn't actually think that I would want, but I could see some really good use for. Tokage still had her head levitating next to Blaze as her body started to jump around in joy. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go get things started. The 3 of them made their way to the training room as the door opened, revealing a room that could be the size of 4 high school gyms put together. It was completely white with a square-like pattern. Dubstep walked over to a keypad and typed some things in as part of the wall opened up, giving him a seat along with a keyboard. So what should I throw at you first? Do you want some robots, some obstacles? Try turning on the simulator function? Blaze thought about it for a second. Why don't you bring up some targets? I'm gonna try out the electric finger quirk to see what it ranges. Dubstep tapped away at the keyboard as the targets started to show up all around the room. Some were close, some were midway, some were far up against the wall. Blaze went through the many quirks that he had in his body as he stopped right at electric fingers. He then put his fingers into the shape of a gun like he was pointing as he let loose a lightning bolt. As it started to arc outwards, it hit a small target at the edge of the midway range. Tokage was amazed seeing that arc of lightning come out of Blaze's finger. That was so cool, so you now have the ability of lightning? Blaze was a little bit annoyed seeing that he barely hit the edge of the target and that his hand was a little bit shaken by the electric discharge. Don't celebrate, we still got a lot of testing with it. I'm still adapting to this new quirk and I can already see its problems. I truly had to be able to aim it properly in my hand before the discharge, along with that part of my body was getting shocked a little bit. So with time maybe I can get it better under control, but for now it's just annoying. Dubstep was checking over the readings for the lightning bolt along with Blaze's vitals. According to my readings, the lightning bolt you just shot off could possibly go through metal with some difficulty, but definitely destroy stone. While I'm looking over your vitals, it did technically electrocute you, but it didn't go too far up your arm. Tokage had a little bit of blush on her cheek, wondering why the both of them did not seem impressed by something so powerful. You know, nowadays people would be grateful to have an ability like yours, Blaze, to pick and choose their powers at will. You would think that you'd be a lot more grateful for what you can get, right? Blaze just rolled his eyes as he went back into his quirk menu, switching over to Vector Arrow. Why don't you put the targets away and put up some obstacles? I'm going to see what this other quirk can do. Dubstep typed away at the keyboard again as the target started to disappear back into the wall. As it started to reconfigure itself into somewhat of a track, a slit started to open up in the wall, showing that they could shoot something out at any moment, along with a pitfall and a slicing blade going across the track. Is this good enough for you? Blaze nodded as he started to run a little bit as he made a black arrow pointing forward right in front of him. As he stepped onto it, he started started to accelerate it in speed as he slid forward real fast. Okay, this might be the speed boost that I've been looking for. Blaze noticed that the first obstacle on the track was the pitfall. As he jumped halfway through, he decided to make another black arrow, but didn't notice that he had it pointing downwards instead of straight, so it sent him launching into the wall of the pit on the opposite side. As he clung onto it so he didn't fall, once he was on the other side, he took a minute to catch his breath. Okay, so this one does have some difficulties to it. Hokage ran over a little bit concerned from seeing how fast that impact was. Are you okay? It looked like it hurt. Dubstep was looking over the calculations for the speed Blaze was going at. I bet you that hurt half of his body since he slammed into the wall going 40 miles per hour. I recommend that we turn off the obstacles and just see how you do going in a straight line. Blaze rolled his eyes, feeling like the both of them were underestimating him. It's fine. At least I now understand that the arrow needs to be properly angled or else I'm going to end up going in the completely wrong direction than I want to. Hokage laughed a little bit at the idea of this quirk requiring a lot of math to be used, though you actually have to do math equations just to be able to use it to its full potential. Blaze stood up onto his feet. Yeah, it's a good thing that math is my best subject. Dubstep was getting excited knowing that Blaze was going to be testing out the training room for many different possibilities today with his new powers. Alrighty then, which one do you want to test next? But that's where I'm going to leave it off this time, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry about taking an entire month break, but I'm back now and I'm going to be better than ever. So with all that said, I'm out this time. Bye.